What up YouTube, Alex here. I'm gonna do part 1 of my 9-part series. Actually, this is part 2, but it's the first deal, my condo. I bought that as a primary residence, not as an investment property. Like a lot of people, it turned into an accidental landlord, so I rented it after the fact. I bought it with the intent, kind of in the back of my head, like, ooh, I can rent this out later. And I'll tell you why I got into so much trouble with that thinking, and why so many people who become accidental landlords end up with houses that don't make that much money. All right, straight up, this thing has been pretty much awful. It's not a bad property when I lived in it. It was a condo, it was a corner unit on the bottom, it was renting out at the pool. I was a bachelor, it was tight, but as an investment property, it's been awful. For starters, negative cash flows, or I take that back, it breaks even. But even worse, I bought it at the end of 2010 at the bottom of the market, and I swear I must be the only asshole in the world that bought a house at the bottom of the financial collapse and has since gone down in value since I bought it. My thinking at the time was, I was about 27, I wasn't really, I didn't have much financial sense, but I knew, or I thought I knew, that renting was better than buying, always. I thought that. It's not so much true, but it sure sounds good, and I know that drives a lot of people's buying decisions. And that's part of the reason that I got jammed up, actually. I bought it thinking renting was better than buying. I didn't really care about learning that much about how real estate investing works. And I didn't think that much about buying a great deal. I just thought, I'm gonna buy something that's reasonably priced, it's at the bottom of the market, and it'll be fine. And I made the critical error that so many people make, which is I thought the rent that I could get later for it was more than the mortgage, so it must make money. Rookie mistake, super rookie mistake. And it's cost me that quite a bit since then. When buying rental real estate, the one thing you care about, the one thing is cash flow. Cash flow. Cash flow is not rent minus mortgage. Your mortgage is usually the PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. What it misses is vacancy, management, maintenance, and capital expenditure. So if you do rent minus mortgage, like I did, and you have $100 difference left over, like I had, you forget 4 expenses, which equal way more than the total expense you've accounted for, leaving you cash flow negative. Also, since it's a condo, I had an HOA. HOA dues have gone up since I bought it. Slightly, but still up, while the quality of the management has gone down, meaning I get less quality tenants, it's harder to rent, I can't ask for as much money, and my overhead's going up. HOA dues also don't add to equity. It's a fee. There's no end in sight. It's never gonna stop. It can only go up, almost always, and you never make any money off those fees. It never turns into anything. The only reason I have kept this condo since I've had it is because 1, it's given me good rental experience. 2, it pretty much breaks even, and after the tax benefits, I do come out a little bit ahead. And the big reason is I use the VA 0% down, so I moved in with no money. So like I said, it breaks even. I maybe come out a little bit ahead, but it costs me nothing to own it. If I had money invested, I would have gotten rid of it long ago. This deal was pretty straightforward. It's not a complex one. I'm gonna go through it really quick because it was a retail purchase. I paid $65,000 for it in 2010. I put nothing down, so I have nothing invested. The mortgage is about $393, and the HOA is $165. Call the total $550. It rents for now $750. So $200 in cash flow is good until you have just about any expense at all that is not built into those costs, like I mentioned earlier, and you're in the red. This deal was way too tight to be profitable. I would never recommend anybody. I should have done it. I don't recommend you do it. A big part of the problem is that it's a condo. I really don't recommend condos. I'm about to rail on them for the rest of this video. I'm going to talk smack about condos. But if you want to know more about the deal itself, this deal, go to the website brokersofchoice.com. I write out everything in full, and you can find out a little bit more of the transactional details. Despite this being a super lousy asset and a pain, it has some positive upsides. 1, it got me to buy my first real estate deal, understand the transaction, and like I said, it does break even, if not a little bit better. I am a high advocate of having a manager rent your properties for you, deal with it, but this I've self-managed for the first few years because I wanted to learn how, and that's an incredibly good lesson and experience to have. So I do value that highly, even though I talk shit about this property. Tax benefits are in my favor. You get to write off the mortgage interest every year. That's a big one. You get to do that on all houses, and you get to write off depreciation. That's the value of the house divided by 27.5 years. Don't ask me why the government decided on that number, 27.5, but that's the number. So I get to write off that amount every year, and that's pretty much the only saving grace of this place. 3 big, huge things that I learned from this condo more than anything else. 1, don't buy a condo. Don't do it. I know there's people that are going to email me and tell me that they had a condo and it made money, and I have this conversation with people for years and they say they have condos that make money. I don't care. Don't do it. Too much risk. It's too volatile, too uncertain. There's too many things that can go wrong and you have too little leverage to get out of it. Don't buy a condo. Don't do it. Big mistake. Second biggest lesson I learned is, and actually probably the biggest lesson, this one's big. Don't buy retail. Stupid mistake. And I see people doing it all the time. Don't buy retail. The second rule of real estate is you make money when you buy. You have to buy a property at a discounted price to make money. You have to. Third lesson I learned, and this one's a real good to know, and it's the one that scares a lot of people who have never bought a house off from real estate investing, is that real estate is very forgiving investment. Meaning, you don't go bankrupt all at once. If you lose on cash flow, it's a few $100 a month. That's not to say that it can't still lose you money over a long run, and it certainly can still bankrupt you, but it takes a while. It goes slow. Even if you do well, it goes slow. If you do bad, it still goes slow. It's very forgiving. You get a lot of time to get out of your mistakes. And that's really good to know, and it was really good for me to feel that and experience it as I went forward, because I understood better, not from what I thought or somebody told me, but what from I had actually experienced myself, that I can get out of a lot of mistakes that I make, because there's a lot of time in between to recorrect. That's it for deal number one. If you want to know more about the deal or see pictures, you can go to brokersofchoice.com. I know this wasn't too exciting. It's not an investment deal, but I really wanted to explain the strategy on how I got, through the whole mess, all 8 deals. And this one was important because it really shaped my it shaped my understanding of real estate buying, the mistakes you can make, and how to recorrect in the future. Buying a condo, buying it retail, and then thinking you'll just move later and rent it out and make money, this is a mistake. A lot of people make it. It's not the end of the world if you do it or make this mistake, but if you watch this before you do that, you're gonna be in a lot better shape. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Go to brokersofchoice.com and let's watch the next episode.